Hello everyone, Mr. Hadley here. This art lesson is inspired by a beautiful blackbird written and illustrated by Ashley Bryan. I'm sure some of you have already heard of this story before. Maybe you've even read this story too. I really want to read it to you because it's one of my favorite stories, and then afterwards I want to make some art that's based off of the pictures and words that we see and hear in this story. So let's get started. Beautiful Blackbird by Ashley Bryan. A long, long time ago, the birds of Africa were all colors of the rainbow. Clean, clear colors from head to tail. Oh, so pretty, pretty, pretty. Back then, though, birds had no marks of black on their feathers. From the tops of their heads, the tips of their tails, no markings of black. Whether large or small, Blackbird was the only bird who had it all. One day, Ringdove called the birds to a festival in the forest. He asked them all to meet by the lake where he lived. Birds flew in from all over with a flip-flopping of their wings and a whirring, stirring of the air. They flew down to the lake from everywhere. The birds' colors were mirrored in the waters. They were red, green, yellow, purple, orange, and blue, pink, then black. Black? Blackbird. Blackbird too. Ringdove called, "Coo-caroo, coo-caroo, I have a question to ask of you. Who of all is the most beautiful?" The colored birds never even raised a wing. They raised their beaks and they began to sing. Blackbird stands out best of all. Blackbird is the most beautiful. His feathers gleam all colors in the sun. Blackbird is the most beautiful one. The birds circle Blackbird in a beak and wing dance, singing, beak to beak, peck to peck. Spread your wings and stretch your neck. Black is beautiful, Black is beautiful, And then they broke out of the circle for the show claws slide. Tip tap toe to the left, spin around. Toe tap tip to the right, stroke the ground. Wings flip flapping as you glide, forward and backward in a show claws slide. That's kind of hard to say, but it kind of makes me want to dance. And when the birds were into their steps, Ringdove took Blackbird aside. "Oh, Blackbird, Blackbird, coo-caroo, coo-caroo, would you color me black so that I'll be black like you? My neck is plain, and that's a shame, 'cause Ringdove is my given name." Blackbird said, "Color on the outside is not what's on the inside. You don't act like me, you don't eat like me, you don't get down in the groove and move your feet like me. But come tomorrow to the sun-up dance, I'll brew some blackening in my medicine gourd, and then I'll swing a ring around your neck to go with your name." The next day, the birds gathered. Blackbird stirred the blackening brew in his medicine gourd. He stirred it round and round. Then he dipped his feather brush into the pot. With his free wing, he spun Ringdove around, holding his brush to Ringdove's neck. Ringdove sang, "Coo-caroo, coo-caroo, see what a swinging ring of black can do?" Blackbird bowed to the crowd as a chirping arose. "Ringdove's black is beautiful, beak to beak, peck, peck, peck. He's just like Blackbird around the neck." "Oh, Blackbird, can we have some of the blackening too? We all need what your black can do. You're such an artist with your feather brush. A touch of your black will be good for us." Blackbird said, "Tomorrow I'll mix the rest of my black roots in a larger medicine gourd. I'll give what I can give until it all gives out." The birds danced the sundown dance, then went to nest. All through the night, the birds dreamed of black. Black markings on the head, tail, wing, front or back. Oh, black is beautiful, black, black, black. Birds rose at sunup and took their wings. Oh, way up high their colors filled the sky. With a flip-flop flapping of their wings, a stirring whirring of the air, they flew down to the lake from everywhere. Ringdove carried Blackbird's large gourd and set it down. Blackbird stirred with a stick in his wing and said, "We'll see the difference of a touch of black can make. But just remember, whatever I do, I'll be me and you'll be you." Blackbird tipped his feathers brush into the pot and tapped out dots. Some were large and some were small, close together or far apart. It was a challenge to the Blackbird's art. With strokes long and short, he painted stripes. Blackbird swept his brushstrokes steady. He drew lines only when his brush was ready, and full with the black, black brew. The paint in the gourd was getting low. Blackbird still had more to go before he had decorated the birds with black, one and all. "Save some for us," cried the small birds. "We've been in line and we were on time. We won't step back till we get a touch of black too." Ringdove tipped the gourd. Blackbird slipped his brush way in. He brushed the rest of the birds with marks and arcs. He black-tapped the last small bird of the flock. Then Blackbird sang, "I've painted plenty, plenty, plenty. The gourd's now empty, empty, empty." The birds surrounded Blackbird and sang, "Our colors sport a brand new look. A touch of black was all it took. Oh, beautiful black. Black is beautiful. And that's the story. Thank you so much for following along with the story. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. It's one of my favorites by Ashley Bryan. Before we move any further, I would really like to go over something with you all, the materials for this project, or for any project really that you see here. Any of the projects that I show you, that we go through together, you can use whatever materials that you have that you think will work for the project, okay? They don't have to look exactly like mine, okay? Because sometimes we don't have the materials that we need. Is that okay? Yes, it's absolutely okay. Just make the project work the best that you can, okay? All right, but I know that some of you received a bag that looks sort of like this. It says art on it, okay? You're gonna need some of the materials that are in this bag for this project today. So I'm gonna go over the materials that you will need. I'll start with the materials that actually aren't in the bag that will be helpful to have for this project. So number one, you're gonna need a pencil, a glue stick will work, scissors, okay? Pencil, glue stick, scissors. And then, along with that, crayons or colored pencils, probably not markers, but if markers is what you got, then markers is what you got. That's okay too. All right, so we're gonna have, along with those materials that I just said, the white paper in here that folds out, okay? The black piece of paper here. And I'm not gonna take them out right now just because I think they're gonna go everywhere, like fall everywhere. All this colored paper here will be helpful for you for this project. And also a white pastel. White crayon or white colored pencil works for this too, okay? So if you're confused about the materials that you need, you can go back, you can pause this video, you can go back and listen to me ramble on about the materials. But without further ado, I'm actually gonna get started with this lesson, all right? So let's get started. For this project, I would like us to first take a look at this page here in the book, right? And I want you to look at the blackbird specifically with what's around the blackbird as well. What things and colors do you see, right? You can think to yourselves, what is it that you see on this page specifically? All I see colors, different shapes. I see other birds on the bottom as well, right? Now what we're gonna do, based off of this page in the story, I want us to make, this is my example of the project, I want us to make our very own blackbird, all right, with colors coming down and designs on the bottom too, all right? You just saw the page in the story, all right, that this project is based off of. At any time, you can go back in the video and pause on that page, all right, to gain more inspiration from. But this is just one example of the project that I want to show you, okay? So what's going to happen is this. I'm going to tell you what materials I would like you to use right now, which will be, I want you to take the black paper out, okay? And I would like you to find a white crayon or pastel. I have mine right here. A white colored pencil would work as well. And what I want us to do first on the black piece of paper, we are going to draw a bird. All right, we're gonna draw our blackbird. And this can be helpful, you know, if you don't have a black piece of paper and you just have a pencil, that's okay too, all right? All of your art is going to be beautiful, all right? These projects are for you to go back to as well, all right? Not to just do them right now. But when you have the materials, that's fine. So here we go, a blackbird, ready? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a half circle, all right, shape on the paper. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a triangle shape here. For what? Yeah, the beak. And another triangle shape for the bottom of the beak. It's like a sideways letter what? What letter does that look like? Letter M, right? All right, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this line down here for the back of the head, bring it further down, make it curved. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna curve that around and then bring this line all the way to the edge of the paper. Similar to that, on the other side below the beak, curve it around, bring that line all the way to the edge of the paper there. And this is what part of the bird? It's the wings, right? Yeah. And what I'm gonna do is bring this line down here and start to make wavy lines similar to here. Sort of like it's spreading its wings out, right? And now we gotta make the tail. All right? So curve line this way, curve line this way, not touching the edge of this part of the paper here. We gotta make the tail. So something like that will work. And if you already know how to make a bird too, that's totally fine. Yours will probably work just as well. Okay, now what I want you to do is I would like you to take your drawings and I want you to, with your scissors, you're gonna cut it out, okay? It probably would have been helpful for me to tell you in the beginning that you want this drawing to touch all the edges of your paper. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that. So if you made a mistake, if you have the black paper, you can always flip it over and do it on the back, okay? You can pause the video, go back. All right, this video is for you, all right, to use. Not just right now, but for later use as well. So I'm gonna cut this out. Now that I have my bird cut out in the way I want it to look, what I want you to do next is I would like you to please take one of the papers. I don't think I mentioned this to you before, I'm sorry. I want you to take one of the papers that just folds out like this, all right? It's a medium-sized paper, so when you look at it, the bird basically fits on the paper like this, all right? It's not the big paper, okay? You should have paper that looks like similar to this, and also paper that folds out this big, all right? It's okay if you don't. Again, you can make this project work as best as you can, and that's fine. But for those of you that do have these materials, I would like you to please take this bird and glue it onto this background, okay? So I'm gonna do that now. Now what I would like you to do is I would like you to get your folded big white piece of paper, all right, ready for, not the next part, but you're gonna use it soon, okay? So what I want you to do is fold it out, write your name on the back, and you can just set it aside, all right, for now. I'm gonna leave mine right here just because of the space that I have, all right? It's easiest for me to just leave this here. But what I would like you to do next, after you wrote your name, all right, and just kind of set this aside, what I would like you to do now is make sure that this bird is nicely glued onto this paper here. What I would like you to do is take some colors, whatever colors that you have, or if you don't have colors, you could use the colored paper that you have in this baggie right here. And what I want you to do is I want you to start designing, all right, colors that surround the blackbird, all right? Sort of like we saw in the picture in the book right here, all right? Maybe you want to add some more birds on the bottom if you have room for it. But what I would like you to do is start to add these colors around your blackbird. Now, I'm just going to be using colored pencils, but you could also use crayons, all right? Sort of like this. I have lines. You want to make sure that these lines go to the edge. Maybe yours doesn't have lines. Maybe yours is more of a... I have way too many pencils in my hand right now. Maybe you have round, curly lines, spiral lines. All right, maybe you don't have any of those. Maybe what you have are shapes. Pressing down on the pencil just a little too hard. Maybe you have shapes. I want you to design in color around your blackbird, okay? And what I did to my example, you can do this too if you'd like, just some lines. All right, you can also add other things too. Again, I was kind of getting a little more interesting with the colors here. What if you want to color in some of your shapes? Is that okay too? Of course it is. Yeah, you can get really interesting with this. Do you have to use the same colors I'm using? No, but I would like you to design all around, right, your blackbird, okay? So that's what I want you to do right now. Just take your colors and design all around the blackbird, filling up all of the white space, all right? All right, so this is how mine is looking right now. I'm sure you're still designing, which is totally fine. But the next thing I want you to do when you're done, I would like you to flip this over, add some glue, and I would like you to glue this part onto your larger white piece of paper that I told you to set aside. Okay? You don't have to be done with this project right away. This project could take some time. I once heard somewhere, you can't rush art. And that is probably some really helpful advice. All right? So now that we have this, something like that here, again, it's okay if you don't right now, but you can look at mine. And then what you can start to do is, this part is called a what? Starts with a B. It's a border, all right? Now that you have a border, you can then take colored paper, the colored paper that you have in your bag, or any kind of paper that you have with you. You could also color paper on your own if you would like to. And then you can cut it out, and then I want you to, again, design around, but on the border, right? So I cut out shapes like rectangles, Mostly just rectangles, but different colors, all right? You can make a pattern, you don't have to make a pattern, all right? But I want you to do similarly, all right, with the cutout paper around this border here, okay? So I'll demonstrate that just really quickly here. My glue stick just fell. And when things fall down in art, what do? We just pick them right back up, twist the glue stick down, and put the cap right back on it because we're not going to use it right now. What I need are the scissors, and I'm just going to cut out, again, just some simple rectangles. You don't have to do rectangles. I'm sure all of you can figure out something way cooler, more interesting. But if you want to use rectangle, that's totally cool too. It'll still look great. All right. Now we have, let's start up here. All right. So I'm decorating the border with my blackbird in the center. Oh, and you can also take a piece of paper and you might want to cut out, I'm going to use blue. You might want to cut out an eye, so a little circle, little dot for the blackbird's eye. Blackbird looks a little bit mad right now, but that's okay. Now you could do that. All right. So something like that, okay? Make this project your own. This is my finished example. All right, this is the piece that I'm working on now. But make this project your own. I'm really excited to see all of your work, all right? So keep working with it. See what you can do. That's the lesson for today. Thank you so much for following along with the story and with the lesson itself. Again, this book is called Beautiful Blackbird. It's by Ashley Bryan. I really enjoyed this book. I hope you did too. You can send me all of your work. I would love to see what all of you make. You can email me your work, or you can send it through Seesaw or Schoology, whichever is easiest for you, okay? All right, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.